is the Page Publishing Book Club. How you doing? I'm your host, Alice Stockton Rossini. Linda Stone is a retired nursing assistant in Washington State. But at one point, she was an armed officer on an Indian reservation where she met a guy in the Secret Service who changed her life forever. Her story is the stuff of a James Bond movie. I'm not kidding you. The name of her book, Desperado.
I would go to work and I would speak with this gentleman and we'd talk sometimes for an hour when we weren't supposed to. And I would come home and I would write a little bit. And I would take it back to him and he kind of guided me through this book. He was a Secret Service officer. And I went on my inspiration from him. And I would come home from work at night and I would write. And before I would go to work in the morning, I would write. And pretty soon it just caught me up. And I just started pounding away on those computer keys. So how did he inspire me? I was in love. It's about experiences that he had, I had, and things we did together. We were given assignments, and they were things that we did secretly, sometimes very dangerous things, planning bombs, finding people that were lost, having to go overseas and find them, uncovering horrible things over in Monaco, slave trades, sex slave trades.
This wasn't as an armed guard for an Indian reservation.
During that time.
That you got sent with this guy who was a Secret Service guy. You ended up working for the Secret Service?
We worked for a company that handled different assignments that the government would not take. And we were put together as partners, partly because we were so close on the reservation, partly that's just who we got assigned to. Haven't talked to him in years, but he still inspires me by what his mind told me to do and the things that we did together. Very scary. We had to rely on hand signals and prearranged sites and time meets. And in the book, I wrote about things that were real, but not the actual ones we went to, because that I couldn't put in there. So what was in there was what I took from the assignments I had.
How long did you do this?
About 5 years.
And did you have to receive any kind of special training?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Did you travel all over the world?
I traveled in Europe, Arabia, Australia, and just England, Ireland. So I've been around. But this is something that I never talked about because I never thought that I should.
Well, were you under some kind of a gag order?
Kind of. It was just that the government didn't like to do these things, and they were opposed to it being common knowledge. You know, it wasn't supposed to be that.
So how come you're putting this book out there now?
Well, like I said, it's not the actual thing that I did. Things like that I did.
So did you ever get romantically involved with this guy?
Yes, I did.
Oh, man, he sounds awesome.
Well, I'll tell you what, in there it talks about us being on the beach, and we actually did that, and that was awesome. So my memories of that were good.
You did some good stuff on the beach.
Oh, good stuff.
Oh, I can't wait to read more, Linda. Thank you so much. How many of us get anywhere near a story like that? Yanni's Goal is back, the third installment in a series of books by Kathy and John Sirkin intended to help kids solve problems. The first book was conflict resolution. The second dealt with overcoming obstacles to achieve a goal. And now we have the third book, the story of Yanni's Goal. Yanni thinks through consequences to deal with a bully. Now, John, I would think this would be extremely popular with schools everywhere searching for solutions to deal with bullying.
Yes, and there are two aspects to it. There's not only what you should do with the bully, but the person who is being bullied also needs some help, and this handles both sides of the equation. And what I have to say is that this not only applies to young elementary school children who it's targeted for, but the book has been used by adults. We have a software engineering company in California We have a consortium of business managers in Japan who have used the books in their own training for their personnel. So it's been an application that works not only for youth but all the way through life.
So how do we deal with bullies?
Well, in this case, what you have to do is instead of blaming yourself, I guess the main thing to do is to look at the various steps for the actions that both you and the bully takes, the cause and effect that leads to the negative output, and then get that converted to a positive output. We have a child who was constantly in class making all kinds of difficulty for the other students. So during the first 6 weeks of school, that student got sent to the principal's office 40 times.
Oh.
And we had a teacher sit down with him to try and work this out, and they started to use the branch tool. This leads to that, etc., and to the negative result. And he ends up sitting in the principal's office. When they get about halfway through working his negative branch, the teacher gets called away to go work on a higher priority, and the student finished his own tree. And he could see where it led to a negative result and how he could change his behavior to lead to a positive result. And after that was all over, the teacher came back and she says, okay, let's start up again. He's already figured it out. And he was really looking for attention, and what he had to do was get the right kind of attention and not the wrong kind of attention. He changed his behavior, and for the rest of the year, he never got sent up once.
That's unbelievable.
And if anyone would like to go to our website and take a look at it, www.tocforeducation.com, we've got lots of case studies on there that demonstrate this for all the various tools that we train.
What about kids that bully on the internet, who find the weak and just write things about them and, why don't you just go kill yourself and you're ugly? And
each of those, I guess, is an individual problem, and I guess you'd have to look at it. And what you got to, I guess, engage is in the cause and effect of what they're doing, and attempt to find that little clue that will lead them in the opposite direction. It's really got to be an individual thing, and it's kind of hard to do it in general. We can give a general answer to that question.
Right.
So
right.
I think I've given you a general answer, but it's I guess what you have to do is get trained in the tool, get a little experience at it, and you can probably figure those out on your own.
Okay. So we'll go to your website and we'll find out everything we need to know about the
I hope so.
stories of Yanni's many goals. What's next?
Next is the fourth book and last book in the series, which takes the three tools and it ties them all together. And I don't want to give away everything, but the main thing that our hero needs to find out is how to take this and apply it in real life.
Great. All right, John. Thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure.
Pat Peterson worked in the business office of a local hospital for a while and then decided enough of that. Time to go back to writing full time. Now she writes books in her head while walking near her South Carolina home. Books like Making of the Moon.
Well, I've always had a deep love for the moon. I think it's one of God's greatest creations, really. And I've always had big respect for Native Americans, so I decided just to put the two together. And it's really a fiction, but it's based on a legend which is supposed to be kept between the Native Americans and God. But it leaked out, and the chief, who's 98 years old, of the Indian reservation in Cherokee, North Carolina, that I wrote it about. And of course, understand it is just fiction. But anyway, he's determined to stop this from being made into a movie, even if he has to release a curse. So
this secret bond between the tribe and the moon, somebody wants to make a movie about it.
Right, because a book has been written called Red Man's Secret, but somebody, one of the Native Americans sold the rights and everything to an author, and one of the producers and editors decided they wanted the movie rights, so they relocated to North Carolina, and they set up to make the movie. And when they met the chief, he had said there will be no movie. And the book really doesn't go into detail how the chief stopped it from being made, but whenever they viewed the footage that they had taken, it was blank. He had even threatened a war between the Native Americans and them, and it's pretty suspenseful up until the very end. really what the legend was. It was like the moon was made of Native American spirits because God had chosen this tribe because they were righteous, and in His eyes they found favor.
Is that true?
No, this is not true. This is fiction. When I was in New York, we were with a group, and she gave me the microphone, and I took a book with me, and I explained a little about the book, and passed it around and let them look at it, and told them where they could find it on Amazon, and a lot of them had promised to buy the book, and any time that I have the opportunity when it comes up, I tell them about my book. And I keep a copy in my car at all times, just in case, I can promote it.
Are you going to keep writing?
Oh, yes, I have a stack of books in there that I want to try to get published. And Page Publishing Company is the first one that's ever been legit that I have ever tried to work with. I've had books stolen from me. I've had run into scams. I've just had a lot of bad luck with them. So I guess Page Publishing Company has renewed my faith in humanity, so to speak. Like I said, I appreciate everything this company has done for me, and I enjoy writing, and I'm definitely going to be trying, to get. In fact, my last book that I wrote is the first mystery that I've ever written. It's called Dark Room Proof. And I'm just so excited. So want them to review it and see if it's publishable. I'd love that. But this is the book that I'm focused on right now, is Making of the Moon. That's my baby.
Thanks, Pat. Megan Lackney is a college student in Illinois where she's been coming up with stories since middle school. She's got a couple of side jobs but manages to get to her classes and take refuge in her writing. Her book is entitled Secrets, and boy, does she guard them carefully.
Basically, with people, you can never know what's all going on in their life and what's going on around you. And oftentimes, within that, you don't see what all's going to happen. And in the story, that's kind of like an important thing, because with the main character, Sam, you don't really see what's going on in, other people wouldn't see what's going on in her life. So they wouldn't really expect what's going to happen or the situation she's stuck in. Sam is the main character. She is basically taking care of her sister Tiffany, and she lives with her uncle. And she's not in the best situation there because her uncle favors Tiffany and is a bit abusive towards Sam. And she's trying to find somebody because she's not the only one who's in that situation. But in order to get out, she doesn't want to leave the other person behind. Yeah, she's looking for someone that she's met before, and she's trying to help that person get out of the situation as well. She's basically not where she belongs. She's not supposed to technically be there with the uncle and with Tiffany. She's supposed to be somewhere else, and so is the other person she's trying to find.
I mean, you say here, my name, it's Sam, but that's not what matters. You never know the full truth. Everyone has a secret. So Sam has a secret.
Yes.
And does the other person have a secret?
Yes. Basically with her, that she cannot reveal that part yet until she is sure that the other person is safe.
So it's a heavy-duty secret.
Yeah. It's a mystery where there's a lot of different concepts in it that will lead to more answers. But basically, it's about a girl that is where she does not belong, and she has to get a lot of other stuff taken care of before she can reveal her secret and before she can get back to where she needs to be.
All right, and there's moral issues here that she has to decide.
Yes.
And you write, become selfish and endanger another, or become lost within your own thoughts, dealing with something that no one is allowed to know. Fall deeper into one's mind as the secrets begin to unravel. How long until all will be revealed?
By the end of the book, majority of it is revealed, but there is some stuff that's left for the imagination of the readers.
Okay, so can I just ask you what kind of secret it is?
It's more so of a secret of something that has happened to her, and it all kind of led to where she is now.
Okay.
And with like the moral dilemma that she has to deal with is basically like she can either let people in her life and know a little bit about her, but if she does that, then they're going to end up being targeted as well to basically go missing.
Do you have any connection to this story at all?
I think the only thing that I can really relate to the story much is with like the anxiety portion, because like there's a lot of different characters with like going through all their own different things, and Sam has her own like little anxieties, but she kind of locks it all away.
Okay.
It just kind of boils over at some point. Kind of the lesson is basically careful how you treat others because you don't know what they're going through, but also it's like be careful of your surroundings.
All right, Megan, nice work. We have got to take a quick break, but we are coming right back. This is the Page Publishing Book Club.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you: printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-204-6099 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-204-6099 for your free author submission kit.
We're back on the Page Publishing Book Club. I'm Alice Stockton Rossini. J.R. Warnett lives on the Jersey Shore in Toms River, and he's a janitor, which explains the name of his book, The Day I Cleaned My Last Toilet. J.R. has been writing all of his life and often finds himself writing when he's under a lot of stress, like in 2012 when he was diagnosed with MS. He says it was the best medicine he ever had.
When I started writing each of these little chapters, I didn't plan to write a book. I had just kind of wanted to put something out there to kind of help me with my stress, kind of help me relieve that what was going on in my life. A lot of times musicians will write or perform music, or even artists will just kind of paint or draw. Well, this was my way to vent. So I kind of started rolling with it. I would say about 2 years ago, I got serious to try to finish, and I actually had finished it. And I said, you know what, I have to try to publish it, because if I don't, it's never going to see the light of day. Maybe my story would try to help somebody else who was in this similar situation. That's how it evolved to an actual book, because I never started to write it as a book. The actual title, The Day I Cleaned My Last Toilet, is kind of like a reverie. It's the day I actually physically retire, which is probably not for a long time, but the day I retire and I don't have to do this anymore, that's going to be my glorious moment. But it was something that I had a job through college, and it was good with the hours because I had to work evenings. So it just kind of stuck. And then when I came out of college, when I finally graduated with a bachelor's in creative writing, there were no jobs. Right. And there's still no jobs.
So you stayed a janitor.
Unfortunately, things happen. You know, I'm at the point now where it's, with my medical condition, it's under control. I take medicine every day and so forth. But it kind of woke me up. Yeah. And it was one of the greatest and worst things that ever happened to me, because it taught me to wake up. But I'm doing book signings now pretty much every other weekend. Last weekend I actually just had a book signing at a Barnes & Noble, and I actually have one coming up this weekend in Morristown, New Jersey.
So how are you doing that?
It's pretty much, it's not a cold call. It's you send out emails, you contact them, say, I have a new book that came out, local to the area. Do you have any local author meet and greets coming up? So, and a lot of them are Barnes & Noble reading, which is good, because that's, I grew up in Barnes & Nobles.
So Barnes & Noble in New Jersey is embracing you. That's good to know, because Barnes & Noble doesn't embrace every author in every part of the country. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So you're lucky. Tough. Yeah.
Because I've been published in over 30 newspapers and magazines. So I've been writing steadily for years, but this is my first actual fiction book of satire, because it's something that I wanted to write for me.
So this is a funny book?
It's got a dark sense of humor, I must warn you. There's a lot of adult language. There's a lot of situations in the book that if you don't work for the public school systems, you may not get it. But a lot of times, I'd say about 90% what's in this book are what people are going to experience at a regular job. These are the situations, and characters could be anywhere. It doesn't matter if they push a broom. It's satire. It's funny. It's not poking fun so much as it's bringing things to light. A lot of the characters that I have in this book I'm telling other people's stories as well. A lot of people that I worked with years ago, a lot of them never got to tell their story, because nobody talks to the janitor. People don't come up and just ask me my name. So I wanted to say, this is my name and this is my story, and not for nothing, but these are the other stories that matter as well. Each chapter is a standalone chapter. So some of them continue. Some of them don't have anything else to do with the rest of the book.
Okay.
So each chapter is kind of like a little vignette.
And you believe that humor gets you through your darkest days.
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, JR. Ashley Brandt lives in Cody, Wyoming, and uses her creative energies to express herself in ways she otherwise could not. Just 26 years old, writing and drawing is her life, and she does both in her book entitled Darkened Destinies. Now tell me where this came from.
I honestly don't know. It was hard for me to come up with it.
Why?
Oh gosh, I was taking care of a couple of kittens for a few weeks.
So it was hard to focus.
It was so hard to focus. It was somewhere in my imagination, but it was also kind of based off of a song.
Oh. So you've never written a book before, right?
No, I haven't.
So what made you decide to write a book?
I don't know. I've always kind of wanted to write a book
Okay.
and just kind of share that creativity with everyone.
Nice.
The story is pretty much about these twins who are born into royalty, and if these twins were born into royalty, then they have to uphold rules that were unknown to them and the reader to bring peace to the kingdom for the rest of their natural lives. Well, Lucas and his sister Rose, of course, were born into Yalia, and at a young age they became separated. Lucas went on to become a servant, learning the ways of becoming a servant, and he basically lost his title of being a royal. And Rose went on to become the youngest queen known in all the land. Uh, as soon as it was deemed necessary, Lucas was sent back to the castle to serve under his sister's command.
So was this done on purpose?
It was done on purpose.
Do they realize that they're brother and sister?
They do. They do know their brother and sister.
So we have to read the book to find out what happens.
Yes. I guess the lesson is you have to be careful of your actions because they could hurt other people.
Good one.
At first, I thought it was going to just end there, but after thinking about it for a little bit, it's probably going to continue on into a second book.
Okay. Did you enjoy the experience of writing?
Oh gosh, yes, I did.
Good. Well, keep it up, girl. You're young. You got a lot of time ahead.
Thank you.
VCP works at a post office in White Plains, New York. VCP is a pen name taken from a rap name, and he's been writing short stories since he was 12. He lived in D.C. for a while and liked it so much, that's where he set his book entitled Knights of Labor.
The story is pretty much about two sisters giving an introduction to one of the main characters of the organization known as the Knights of Labor, Janelle. It's giving her like a little backstory, while it's also giving her sister her own story as well. They're half siblings. One used to live in LA and the other one lives in New York. And it pretty much follows them as they meet for the first time, and they're going against an organization known as the Sway Society, which is a crime organization over there. As far as the Knights of Labor is concerned, the Knights of Labor is actually a vigilante group that goes out and solves crimes for the feds and for the NYPD. In this case, DCPD. The Sway Society is a drug-based gang. Like, they run the underworld. They do a lot of narcotics, psychedelics, and even do like homicides to cover up all the narcotics that they sell. And recently, the FBI over there have been catching on to the Sway Society. So now they're focusing their attention on the FBI. So they hired a gunman he's originally from Florida, but he goes to another area which I created. It's called River Coast, but it's themed off of Maryland, Ocean City. So they contact him, and he goes to D.C., and his main objective is to go against the FBI.
Is this story based on any experience you ever had?
Partially, the love story that goes on in it was pretty much based off of one of my old relationships that I had. It's like 20% based off of my personal experience with the love angle that I put in the story, but then 80% was pretty much creatively made up, creatively thought out.
Okay.
Thing is just pretty much an introduction to the Knights of Labor. I have another story coming out that has like all types of inspirational stuff that I've learned throughout the years. But this one was just pretty much supposed to be introductory to the concept, give an introduction to one of the main leaders of the organization known as the Knights of Labor. And you know what? To be honest with you, it was actually supposed to be my last story that I was going to write. But what happened was I liked it so much that I was like, you know what? I'm going to continue writing, and I'm going to continue writing about their future missions that they'll go on. So really, it was actually supposed to be the last one I wrote.
So they're a vigilante group like the Guardian Angels, and they help police solve crimes.
Yes.
Okay.
I've been telling people on my route. I've been going on different forums, promoting the book, and I'm actually planning on doing a book signing in September or October.
And there's another book after this, right?
Yep. Actually, about 9 other books after this.
You're going to write like a whole crime series.
Yep, pretty much that's what it is.
Very ambitious, VCP. I mean, go for it. Why not? Life is short. By the way, where is your book? Don't you want to be on the Page Publishing Book Club? Come on. We have so much fun here week after week. Listen, if you missed anything, download the podcast at 710WOR.com. Otherwise, thanks so much for being with us. And thanks to our authors. I'm Alice Stockton Rossini. Catch you next time.